Welcome back to the Student Counselor Podcast, the only show helping counseling students and new clinicians build the careers that they've worked so hard for. I'm Vitor, your host and founder of Pro Counselors LLC, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about my therapy business, my private practice, my niche, how I went about opening, the clients I've been seeing, and everything about Pro Counselors therapy services. So let's get started. All right. Man, I'm still kind of getting used to this new intro style of podcasting because if you've been a long time follower and you've been with me since season one, which by the way, I've never expected that to ever be called season one. I thought it was just the podcast. Now that we're here, that is now being called season one. Everything that came from when I was a student is now called season one. And this is season two, post-graduation, right? So if you've been following me since then, you know that I didn't do a video format. So this is the first. And if you're watching me on video, hello. And I used to have a little intro jingle song that kind of came around usually after this brief intro that I used to do. And I'm not doing that now just to make things a little easier for me because, man, it's hard. I work full time. I'm a manager with responsibilities to lead and guide a team. I am a business owner by evening. I am a therapist. I am a consultant. I am a husband. I am a son, a friend. I am a lot of things. And I'm just trying to make my life a little easier. So just running through the video in one go does help a little bit. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll bring the fun intro song back. Tell me, do you guys, those that have been here longer, do you want the intro song back? All right, enough of that. Today we're going to talk about everything Pro Counselors therapy services. So on the last episode, we talked about my consulting services, which is very geared towards helping counseling students. And I figured it would be appropriate to also talk about the private practice side of things in my therapy business and how that's been going in the last, what is it now? 7 months? 8 months? I don't know. I've launched officially Pro Counselors, and by launching, I mean making it public, making it known, transitioning my old Instagram page from the Student Counselor Podcast to then now my business page, Pro Counselors. And if you're not following me there, go check it out. Creating a TikTok, a YouTube page, everything around Pro Counselors. And launching it came about in August, I believe. Was it August? Jesus, I'm losing track of time. Yes, August was when I officially launched and made the business known to public, even though, again, I've been doing a lot of this behind the scenes. My LLC has been open since 2023 or 2024. It's only been open officially, and I've been only seeing clients officially since August, okay? And the big part of the business once I launched was strictly private practice. I had just gotten my license, which I'm probably going to make an episode of that experience, taking the licensure exam for Florida. Stay tuned for that. Most likely that's the next episode. Once I got my license, it was appropriate to launch the business, but also it was appropriate to focus on the therapy side of things, right? Especially because I had to rent an office. There's a lot of Florida regulations that I had to follow. I had to pay this person who needs to be on site when I'm practicing. And it's not just a matter of renting the office, it's renting it and doing it the right way with the right person, the right support group. Totally possible for you new students out there. Don't believe what they tell you in school or some of these supervisors that will tell you that it is impossible. If it's your dreams, you do it, okay? By all means, you will learn along the way. And now, that is certainly a theme of a lot of these episodes, as I'm sensing already, predicting the future. But yeah, it felt appropriate to give the therapy practice the focus in the beginning. I've always had the consulting services, on my website, listed on my website. I talked about it on some of the initial posts that came about on social media platforms when I was, making the business known to public. But essentially, man, I focus strictly on therapy clients, getting therapy clients in. And man, it was really nice because I've had some clients that came about from my internship experience that returned. That was really nice. So from the get-go, I was blessed to have some clients, which are also a testament to some of those relationships that were built. These are clients that I had brought in myself to the internship phase of my program, because I've had the podcast, because I had the social media platform. Essentially, when I was doing my internship in practicum, I needed clients, and I made that known, and I posted about it, and I was able to obtain some of these clients. It's especially therapy students, which is a big focus of my practice. We'll talk about that here in a second. So I had some clients return, which was a nice feeling. Then I've gotten new clients as well through social media posts. I've got clients locally. I have, I think, half and half right now. My clients are in person and telehealth. Actually, mostly in person. Interesting. So yeah, it's been a nice long ride and fun journey to experience. I have a niche, but I've been open-minded. I'm a new therapist. I'm not blind to that. Okay, I understand that I still have a lot to learn. Um, and again, I certainly think it's possible for you to learn while still going into your own business, while still going directly into private practice, despite what anybody out there will tell you. Some supervisors will tell you against it. I totally disagree. It's silly to even think that. It makes me nauseous just thinking about it when some people, put you down and tell you that you shouldn't do this. You're not ready. And it happened with me. Trust me, I've seen it happen on Facebook group posts. I've seen it happen from stories y'all shared it with me, and along the years. It's crazy how much people will tell you that you shouldn't do it, that you shouldn't go into private practice. And I totally disagree with that. It's If you're a counseling student who wants to pursue private practice after, and your state allows it, which, by the way, I understand that not every state allows that. Some states actually require you to work under someone else, or at a group practice or community health, whatever the case is. I'm not in one of those states, so I can't speak fully on it. Would love to interview someone that had to go through that. So if you're that person, reach out. But again, I'm just totally against when people are, saying that it's impossible, that you shouldn't do something. I believe that we are in a career of empowering others to pursue what they want. That's what we are taught to do with our clients. And when I see that internally happening amongst therapists to say you shouldn't do something, I think that it's like the opposite of our career. So I'm completely against that. And if you want to argue with me about it, by all means, I will ignore you. That's just the reality of it. I don't agree. I think we're all entitled for all opinions. I do understand the value of going into a group practice first, or going into community health first, to learn to, have I don't know, just to experience different things. I get that. Absolutely. That I'm not going to ever speak against it. But I do believe that if you have the right supervisor who is not only available in, the once or biweekly appointments that you have in place with them, a person that you can reach out as questions arise, especially in the beginning. And you have other people that you can consult with. Like for me, I have to have my supervisor who's not locally right now. That might have to change soon because of some Florida regulations. But also I have to have another person who is my site supervisor, as she calls it. And that's the person that is on site when I'm practicing, who I rent the office from. So I believe that with the right support group, you can absolutely go directly into private practice if your state allows it. And you will learn along the way. Okay? Don't believe it. Enough of that. I think I've been rambling about this a lot already. It's not the intention of the podcast or this episode. Just know that if you want something, go get it. Absolutely, go get it. Don't wait. Just go for it. Okay. Will it be a learning process? Absolutely. Are you gonna hit the ground running and make decent living money? I don't know. You might. Again, I work full time. I have a job that's my 9 to 5. It takes a lot of my time and energy, and my private practice is evenings only. So absolutely has been a much slower burn for me, but I'm totally fine with that. I was able to get my caseload to halfway full at 6 months in. And while that sounds like a lot, it's not really a lot. My caseload is very small, as you can imagine. I see clients in the evening only. But it was an accomplishment, and one that I'm very quite pleased to have done so completely on my own. And yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about this caseload, my niche, and what I'm really doing in the therapy side of things for pro counselors. And I think that's important, again, to inspire other students who want to pursue similar routes or have questions of the possibility of pursuing similar routes in the future. So again, I'm lucky and blessed to have a 9 to 5 jobs that keeps me afloat, that pays the bills, that keeps me financially stable. My private practice and my business, it's not one that I depend on to pay my bills, to survive, to eat, to keep a roof over my head. And I say that because, again, my experience might be different from a lot of other experiences out there. So I would love to interview other new clinicians who went directly into private practice, or who maybe didn't go directly, but after completing their licensure hours went to private practice. So I'd love to talk to those here. Reach out if you're one of those. We'd love to have you on the show, and I'll learn from you as well. So my experience might be a little bit different. My business it's like a passion project. It really is. And there's a lot of passion on it, for sure. And that's really where the niche came about, right? The passion that I have towards helping therapy students, emerging professionals, young adults is really what ignited me to want to go directly into private practice. I feel that by working with somebody, I wouldn't be able to share that passion as much as I wanted to. So what I mean is that, sure, I could have worked for somebody, I could have marketed myself and still get the clients that I wanted, but it wouldn't be with the message, the focus that I had, that I wanted to deliver, right? So that's why private practice always felt like the right step for me. Even though, again, it came with a lot of challenges, there's still plenty of them, Getting clients is one thing, keeping them is another. Making sure they're growing, that you're helping them to the best of your abilities, that's another case. And certainly there's a lot of time and effort that goes into that, which I do my very best to treat my clients to the best of my abilities, to learn, to consult, to get with my supervisors to understand what appropriate next steps are, to research things, to in between sessions. So, and I think the part-time evening hours, small caseload allows me to do that even more, because I have a job that I don't, that kind of keeps me afloat. I feel like I have a lot more time to give to my clients, which I'm very glad. I feel like I can learn at a slower pace. So there's a lot of pluses to that as well. So if you have another job and you're graduating, maybe consider this route. You don't have to fully give up that job until you're ready to fully give up that job, right? So consider going into private practice, or even just working at another private practice or community health part-time to start. It's just an option, right? But back to what I was saying. Man, before I used to edit these videos, they were audio only podcasts, and I can edit all the gaps in between. I could take a break, drink water. Now we're doing all in one go. So bear with me. I'm learning this too, which has been fun so far. All right. So the passion side of things, how my niche came about and why I had to go to this direction of going into private practice, right? Of course, one of the main reasons is the consulting side of the business. I wanted to open a business that not only serves the therapy clients that I wanted to serve, but I also knew that there was this extra component that I wanted to do because of the community that I built, because of the podcast prior. It just kind of all made sense. I was like, all right, cool. If I'm going to open a business for consulting, I might as well start marketing myself for both. Why would I do it for one, Especially when my clients overlap somehow. And we'll talk about that. Overlap, but without overlapping, meaning without breaking any regulations or rules in place. Because therapy is one thing, consulting is another. I don't do the same for both. If I'm treating you for consulting, if you want therapy, I will not be able to provide to you, right? If I'm treating you for therapy services, might be able to bring some of the career consulting side to therapy sessions. If you want to explore your resume for a second, in a session, and you want to bring your resume, you want to review it with me, absolutely. That's therapy, right? If it's bugging you, if it's stressing you, if it's bringing anxiety because you're looking for a job, or maybe you're a therapy student who's launching their careers and you're seeing therapy, you're seeing me as your therapist, and you want to talk about your resume, then we will do that. That's therapy, right? But I would not charge you separately for that. That's going to happen within therapy hours, right? The sessions that we have weekly, bi-weekly. It's not going to be something I do on the side for you, like I do with my consulting people. Those are completely different. And again, consulting clients that I get that engage with me for consulting services, that need me to create their resumes, that need me to provide them a list of internship sites, those clients, I cannot see them for therapy. I don't, and I would never, because that would be crossing regulations. So a little bit of a glimpse of that, how that works. But anyway, so I figured since I was marketing myself for therapy students for this consulting side, I might as well just market myself for therapy. So that's kind of how I felt like, all right, these two things are going to be, again, one business, two pillars under one business, right? And the therapy side of things, I've really been focused specifically on young adults, emerging professionals, and therapy students. Once again, when I was an intern myself, I was luckily and blessed to bring in some of my own clients through my social media platform, through this podcast, season 1, and treated a couple of therapy students as an intern, which was so great. Love that I was able to gain clients as a student, intern myself, right? And again, some of those clients, once I've opened the business, kind of came back around, which was nice. And the focus of my therapy services are for those therapy students, emerging professionals, and young adults. And young adults sounds like a real broad, right? What do you mean young adults? Really, if I were to choose my specific niche, I haven't written this down specifically word per word to describe it, but in my head, I know what that is. My niche is targeted to those that are trying to figure out what their next step in life is, trying to figure out their identity, their career moves that they want to make, what school path they want to take. That's the clientele that I want to serve. Those that are emerging professionals, learning, starting a new role, starting a new career, therapy students, starting a new career, going through grad school. That's my bread and butter. That's my love and passion right there. I love working with those that are trying to figure out their identity, but not just their identity when it comes to personality traits and things like that. Really more towards the career counseling side of things. How do I help you figure out what you want to do for your life in terms of career, in terms of school, in terms of long-term goals? That's what I love to do. And that's what I love to treat. So that said, that's my niche. That's what I focus on. Is that the only clientele that I have or even plan to have? Absolutely not. I actually have clients that have nothing to do with that now. Not all clients that I'm working with are, emerging professionals dealing with figuring out their careers and needing career counseling. I have clients that are there for, anxiety and stress. I have clients with different mental illnesses, some that I was really glad to experience from the beginning of my career and get to learn and, partner up with my supervisor to see what the best strategies are for these clientels. And I've learned a lot from them, specific diagnoses, panic disorder. I've dealt with, different health related anxiety stuff, bipolar, and there's a lot of different clients that I've had that are not necessarily tied to the emerging professionals, therapy students, young adults trying to figure out their career moves, that need career counseling. So I actually work with adolescents as well. And for a while, I was kind of hesitant on that, right? And really didn't market myself for it. But somehow it started coming to me. And I figured if it's coming to me, I should be open-minded. I should try to explore and see what that brings me. And I'm glad that I did too. I have some 13 and up. That's the focus for me. I don't see younger. But 13 and up kids, I have some in my caseload now who are there mostly, again, to deal with family dynamics. They're growing, they're learning who they are, they're developing their bodies. People they're stressed with their mom and dad, or having trouble at school. So I have been treating those as well. And man, I've learned so much from them. I've actually had a lot of fun treating them. I'm not saying fun in a way that it's been easy, but in a way that it's been a learning experience, one that I didn't think specifically would be the focus of my practice. And it certainly isn't, but I'm not closed-minded for it. If I get a client that reaches out to me for that, I will absolutely consider, depending on the type of issue we're dealing with, or presenting problem we're dealing with. And it's cool to work with a kid that young, especially if this becomes a long-term client, right? Think about it. That's an adolescent that soon enough will also be exploring their identities, that will be soon enough exploring their career moves, will soon enough be exploring the school programs that they will be joining. So when I looked at that and I was like, man, I wish I had a therapist that young that helped me deal with my parents' divorce or whatever it is that I was going through at the time. But then maybe soon enough grew into something more, that grew into a person helping me figure out what I wanted to do with my life and matching my characteristics to maybe career moves and school programs and things like that. And I didn't have that. Not at 13, at least. First time I saw a therapist, and I actually did my very first, career counseling assessment, which for those of you that didn't follow me, I've mentioned that here a few times. I was around, I think 16, 17, I believe so. Maybe, 17-ish. Yeah, around there. So more like, post high school or ending of high school, that's really when I got to experience that for the first time. That's when I went to therapy for the first time. And it was mostly to decide if psychology and becoming a therapist, or at the time, I thought it was going to be a psychologist. I thought that was the path for me. I didn't even knew about all of these other master's degrees and therapy related stuff. I just knew that a psychologist treated people, a psychologist dealt with this stuff. I want to be a psychologist. Certainly that hasn't happened, but I'm still happy with the path that I've taken. But the first time, yes, going back to that, the first time that I pursued therapy was to deal with career counseling, right? So clearly that's a big passion of mine. That's what started it all. And man, I think about kids, right? And the kids that I have now, they might not even be thinking about, what should I do when I graduate high school? Some of them are younger, right? They might not be thinking necessarily about that right now. But if I build a good rapport with them, and this turns out to be a long-term client, that's topics that I hope to explore with them in the future. So when I started getting calls for kids, I figured that I had to at least try. And I'm glad that I did. It's been a fun journey so far. Is it my niche? No. I still will, have my niche more focused on, again, young adults, emerging professionals, and therapy students. That's my passion. But again, if there's a kid that needs help, family dynamics, relationship issues, trouble, at school, anxiety, stress, different types of illness, I might consider. I will certainly at least take the 15 free, consultation with the mom, with the parent, to learn about that issue and see if that's one I can take on. And I'm just glad that I did. So, yeah. So my caseload 6 months in was halfway full. It dropped down a bit after that, and then it came up again. I'm still halfway full as of right now. But my caseload is 2 clients a day, max. I have a session slot at 6 p.m. and I have a session slot at 7 p.m. I work a 9 to 5 or 5:30. When 5:30 hits, I drive to my office. My office is about 15 minutes from my house. I get there. My first session is at 6. I see 2 clients. I'm done for the day. 2 clients a day, Monday through Thursday. That's 8 clients a week. If most of my clients are bi-weekly, you do the math. You can figure out what my caseload is. About 15, 16 is my goal. I'm not there yet, but I'm halfway. And I'm happy. I'm happy with the pace. I'm happy with how things are going. I'm happy with the clients that I have, the progress we've made. I'm happy with the amount of time that I have for each client because, again, my caseload is small, yet I work a full-time job. But again, we're talking about 8 and 9 clients right now. In the future, 15 max. I believe that I'll have a lot more time to give clients. And I say that because, man, I really do admire therapists that I've seen it and heard it all. People that see 5, 6, 8 clients a day, and they have, 25, 30 clients a week on their caseload. And if you think about most of their appointments probably also being bi-weekly, if they're seeing 25 people a week, that probably means that they have about 50 people on their caseload. And that sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot. I don't know how you guys do it. Shout out to you. Jeez, God bless your soul. And I don't say that in a joking manner. I'm not laughing or mocking you. I certainly understand that some people, when they graduate these programs, that's what they have to do. I don't see myself ever doing that. I don't think I can. Even at 8 clients a week, that I've already had some weeks that all my clients were booked in the same week. It was fun to experience that. Those weeks, man, I was like, man, that's a lot. It was a big week. I mean, I get it. I have a full-time job, right? But man, that's a lot. And you gotta, do your notes, and not only do your notes, but what's next, right? And explore, research things for your clients. And when I hear the stories of you guys or therapists out there who work 25, 30 clients a week, I don't know how you do it. And I admire you. I really do. So that said, that's my caseload. That's my clientele. That's how my practice has been going. So again, I have a niche specifically that is the focus for me. That's why I'm talking about it in here, because I know several of you are therapy students. So if you're in Florida and you're seeking a therapist who is passionate for working with therapy students, then reach out. I'd love to work with you. But again, I share this to really just give you a glimpse of where Pro Counselors have been and the long-term goal for this company for therapy and consulting business. Wanted to start the podcast by sharing these things because I think it's important, and it's motivation to others out there who want to take on similar routes in the future with their careers. And it's a good update for you guys to know who've been, those that have been following me for season 1 and all those 60 episodes. It's a good update for you to know where I've been. So I'm really glad that you're here. But if you are new, if you're just finding this podcast now through, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or YouTube, I'm really glad that you're here. Welcome. This is who I am. You know, I'm a very laid down, down to earth kind of person. I'm very open, honest. I share a lot of things. I did the same when I was, season one of the podcast and sharing my graduate journey. I don't think there's any other podcast out there that focus specifically on the counseling student journey. I don't think there's any other podcast out there that does that. If there is, send me a message. I'd love to connect with that host and learn from them as well. Who knows? Maybe we'll tag team and be each other's guest speakers on our podcast. But honestly, I don't think there is any podcast out there that focus specifically on the counseling student journey, as I did for season one. And now season two, even though I'm no longer a counseling student, I am a student of the world of being a business owner. I am a student of the world of being a new clinician. And I hope to learn and share a lot of that with you guys. There are new counseling students or interns or new clinicians that are ready to kick off your career and need that level of support, that need those conversations. So if that's you, I'm really glad that you're here. Share with your colleagues in school, with people that you know that might benefit from this. Really do appreciate it. Yeah, that's it. This has been fun. I'm really enjoying getting back to the groove of things and podcasting, and now with the video format makes it a little bit more personal. This is my office home space. This is where I work my 9 to 5, but also where I do my consulting business. And when I meet with clients for consulting services, I do them from here. And it's been a good journey so far. Really glad with the pace of things for my therapy practice. Most likely, we'll dig deeper into into the marketing side of things and how I did that, how I go about finding clients. It's been a question that several of you have reached out to me in the past about and asked my, go-to ways to gain clients. So I'll probably focus and have an episode that's specifically focused on that and what has worked for me, but also what works in general, because I have seen and read and even tried a lot of techniques that necessarily haven't really paid off to me too well. But it's not to say that they are not good techniques. So I think there's a good episode there to discuss the marketing side of things, which can be a really good resource for even counseling student interns who are, needing clients for their own internship hours fulfillment to graduate, right? For practicum or internship. So a lot of us out there are working in group practices, private practices, and you're allowed to go and seek out your own clients, as I did. And I got paid for the ones that I brought in myself, which was nice. I highly recommend you negotiating your terms with your practicum or internship supervisor. Not always will be offered to you, but you should be bringing it up. That's a conversation for another episode. Stick around. Really loving this new format of video. Please watch me on video. If you're on YouTube, drop a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have any more questions on my therapy business, or if you think that you could be that we could work well together. If you're in Florida and you're seeking a therapist in Florida, especially if you're a therapy student, feel free to reach out. Go to my website, pro-counselors.com. Go to my therapy page, fill out the form in the bottom. I will reach out to you and we can schedule a free 15-minute consultation. Either way, if not there, follow me on Instagram, TikTok. The page is at Pro Counselors. So find me on all of those platforms. Send me a message, connect with me. Let me know what you're thinking about the new podcast in season 2. Thank you for being here. Hope you learned a thing or two. And if not, then stick around. There's going to be a lot of more lessons coming up here soon. I'll talk to you later. Bye.